See you later.
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
It's Cosby's best season yet. At Bradshaw and Greer, we're celebrating our 10th anniversary at every location. Oldsmobile, Buick, Cadillac, Chevrolet, Geo imports and used cars. 10 years of tremendous selection. Over 700 cars and trucks. 10 years of award-winning service. And 10 years of great deals. Come help us celebrate with tremendous savings and find out what thousands of Bradshaw customers already know. For great selection, service, and price, come to Bradshaw Olds Buick Cadillac and Bradshaw Chevrolet Geo imports in Greer.
Stay up to date with the financial scene. Just call 4FAX, then enter the For Your Money hotline, 4567.
Come on to the bag, only on NBC. NBC, NBC. Mama, Papa, Rabbit, only on NBC. NBC, come on to the bag, only on NBC. NBC, where you wanna be. Come on to the bag, only on NBC.
The following program is a rebroadcast of News Center 4 update from earlier tonight. WYFF Greenville. And now, with the late-breaking edition, Carl Clark, Annette Estes, weather with Charlie Gertz, and Stan Olenick with sports. This is News Center 4 Update.
Hello again, everyone. A stretch of the Atlantic coast from St. Augustine, Florida to Cape Hatteras, North Carolina is under a hurricane watch tonight. Watching for Hurricane Hugo with its 100-mile-an-hour plus winds and torrential rain. On the Carolina coast, U.S. Navy ships steamed out of Charleston Harbor today, preferring to chance the open seas rather than face Hugo if it comes ashore. And all along the coast, people are preparing for rough weather, boarding up their homes and businesses and stocking up on food. Some reports say the hurricane may come ashore right at Charleston. Our Stephen Stock is there for this live report on how residents and officials are taking that prediction. Stephen?
Carl, officials are meeting right now to decide whether or not to evacuate Charleston County. Now, they've set a tentative time of 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Many people here on islands around Charleston aren't waiting for that. Businesses in downtown Charleston along the Old Market were preparing for the worst. There were long lines at the gas station and in the stores. Supplies of plywood and tape are dwindling. More supplies are expected to arrive early tomorrow morning when Charleston residents are expected to start evacuating. Some tourists weren't waiting for morning. And some residents living along the coast left earlier in the day.
Does it scare you?
Yes, because you don't know what to expect. It's too still right now. You know, the calm before the storm. You never know what to expect.
What's your name?
Lisa Hines.
Well, we've got some audio problems. Of course, that's what happens when a hurricane is about to hit. Let me just fill you in. They are going to announce within a couple of minutes whether or not to evacuate even earlier than 6 o'clock and exactly what procedures to take. Right now, it's very calm. One of the persons along the islands here said this is kind of the calm before the storm. We will be monitoring it, and we'll be bringing you more information as it becomes available.
All right, Stephen, thank you very much. Charlie Gertz is in the Weather Center tonight tracking the hurricane. Charlie, it looks big and it looks close. What's the story?
It is indeed a large and very dangerous hurricane, Carl. The current coordinates at 10 o'clock tonight at 27.5 degrees north by 74 degrees west, moving on a course toward the northwest at 17 miles per hour. The maximum winds around Hugo have now increased to 110 miles per hour, and the hurricane watch condition is up from St. Augustine all the way up the coastal area to Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. There are a few things influencing the course of Hugo, but I believe it will continue on northwesterly course through tonight, possibly making landfall somewhere along the Georgia or South Carolina coast late tomorrow night or early Friday morning. Now, the dangerous thing about this particular storm is the possibility of a strong storm surge or a tidal surge along the coastal areas. High tide along the beaches tomorrow night will be after midnight. This could be coincident with the arrival of Hugo, so there are a whole lot of dangers. The wind around the storm, the torrential rainfall and the possibility of a storm surge along the coast. We'll have more pictures and complete details on the weather a little later, Carl.
All right, Charlie, we'll see you later. Thank you. At Myrtle Beach, the ocean playground of the South, there seems to be a mixed response to the threat of the storm. Some of the residents and business people are preparing for the worst, but mostly it was business as usual. And some people took advantage of the big waves to do a little surfing. City and county officials have stockpiled emergency equipment that could be used during the storm and afterward to help clean up, and evacuation routes for residents and tourists have been set up just in case. South Carolina Governor Carol Campbell warns coastal residents to take the hurricane seriously, to batten down and get ready for lots of wind and lots of water. The governor says the Palmetto State is ready.
And the American Red Cross to be prepared to have the designated emergency shelters open by tomorrow in the morning. We won't know which counties will be affected until tomorrow morning.
Governor Campbell cautions coastal residents not to panic, but to stay close to their radios and television sets for updated information about Hurricane Hugo. Some upstate people are on their way to the South Carolina coast already, ready to help victims of Hugo. Members of the American Red Cross from Greenville and Spartanburg loaded up supplies this morning. They're equipped to set up emergency shelters all along the coast if the hurricane comes ashore. And among the Red Cross volunteers leaving Greenville today, ham radio operator Dot Bedford. She'll help provide communication from affected areas if telephone service is lost. Also, dozens of Red Cross volunteers are on standby in our area just in case some of Hugo's high winds and heavy rain affect us up here. In the Virgin Islands, where Hurricane Hugo hit earlier in the week, there's a new problem, a breakdown of law and order. President Bush has ordered American troops to the island of St. Croix, where there are reports of widespread looting, some of it by police and National Guard troops. FBI agents and U.S. Marshals also are on their way to help restore order, and the United States Coast Guard is evacuating people from St. Croix. Your friend Ford has set up a Hurricane Hugo hotline to give information about its location, the speed, and some other information. If you'll call our four-fax number at 242-4444 and then dial the letters HUGO for 4846, we'll bring you right up to date on what the storm is doing. And then the federal government has a national hotline for people worried about relatives and friends in the storm's path. That number is 202-343-6816. You see the number there, and people at that number may be able to help you locate friends or loved ones caught by the storm. Firefighters in Spartanburg County are on the scene of a fire at the South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind tonight. Firefighters from 3 departments fighting a blaze in the Robinson Dormitory. Authorities say no one has been injured there. Firefighters have been on the scene for about 40 minutes. The authorities say students are being evacuated to the health center on campus. No injuries reported. We have a crew on the scene, and we'll have more information on that fire in Spartanburg when that becomes available. Now, back to Hurricane Hugo. We know that another likely target is the beach resort of Hilton Head, which could be ground zero for the heart of the storm as it approaches land. Reporter Chris Holmes is at Hilton Head for this live report. Chris, what's happening there?
Well, we're standing on the beach at Hilton Head. The rain is starting, and the tide has come up. We'd like to show you, of course, but it's very dark outside. In the last 30 minutes, the tide has come up. It's getting much closer to the beach, and the waves are bigger also. Local governments are kicking in their emergency action plans, and the residents say that they're going to start heading for higher ground in the next 24 hours or so. Carl?
Seen any evacuations started at Hilton Head yet, have we? Can you hear me? Oh, it doesn't look as if you can hear. All right, thank you very much. We're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll find out what happened in the trial of Jim Baker today. The prosecution rested, and the defense took a turn defending Baker in Charlotte.
A special buyer's forecast from Parkway Chevrolet Geo, where our business is saving you money with clearance discounts and special factory incentives. The 1990 models are on the way, and that means once-a-year savings on the remaining 89s. Every car, truck, and van in stock is priced to sell now. Don't miss this opportunity to count up the savings during Closeout 89 at Parkway Chevrolet Geo.
Our business is saving you money.
At Parkway Chevrolet Geo in Asheville.
If you think summer is hot, just wait till you hear the Greenville Symphony this fall as the sizzling new season begins. Don't miss Maestro Peter Ricketts' 33rd and final year as conductor, with works by Beethoven, Brahms, and Gershwin, along with all-star performances by Leon Bates, Claudio Jaffe, and Alexander Peskanov. Choose from the Masterwork series, Chamber Orchestra, and Russian festivals. There's something for everyone's taste. For tickets, call 232-0344.
Success has many faces. It could be a firefighter like Janice Henderson, a marine biologist like Richard Radke, or an actress like my friend Madeline Rue. For them and 250,000 other Americans who have multiple sclerosis, success can also mean getting up each morning to live life on their own terms. They don't want your pity, but they could use your help. Call 1-800-624-8236.
Come home to the best, the Danny Ford Show, Sunday at noon on Your Friend Ford.
The sex trial of a former Buncombe County juvenile counselor ended in a mistrial today. 39-year-old William Stafford was charged with 13 counts of taking indecent liberties with minors. A Superior Court jury acquitted Stafford on 2 of the charges, and after 5 hours said it was hopelessly deadlocked on the other 11 counts. The prosecuting attorney says he doesn't know yet if he'll refile the charges and ask for another trial. The prosecution ended its case in the Jim Baker PTL fraud trial this afternoon. Lawyers showed the jury more videotapes of the Jim and Tammy show. It hopes will prove Baker kept asking for money long after goals were met. And then Baker's defense attorney asked that the whole case be thrown out of court because the Constitution prohibits government interference in a religion. But the judge ruled this was not a case about religion and rejected that request. And it was learned today that Canadian businessman Stephen Mernick has canceled his offer to buy Heritage USA, the PTL's theme park at Fort Mill. A Converse man described as a medium-level drug dealer was arrested and charged with narcotics trafficking tonight. Investigators say they found 40 bags of marijuana inside a suitcase while serving a search warrant at the residence of 38-year-old Bruce Michael Emery. That's about 48 pounds of pot there, and it's said to be worth $50,000 out on the street. The wreckage of a French airliner missing on a flight from Africa to Paris has been found in the African country of Niger. All 171 people on board are confirmed dead. A bomb is blamed for downing the UTA Airlines DC-10. And the Islamic Jihad, a terrorist group, has claimed responsibility for the bombing. Several Americans were on the plane, including the wife of an American diplomat. One of the chief topics in Washington, D.C. today was education, how to get more out of America's schools. President Bush welcomed congressional Republicans, top educators, and school reform leaders to the White House to discuss what needs to be done, while congressional Democrats unveiled their own ideas on the problem. Everyone seems to agree that early development programs are essential. So is increasing the number of teachers in the nation's classroom. Another area of concern is the discrepancy among white and minority student test scores. The Democrats say it'll take a strong national and local commitment to reach those goals. There's a strong interest right now in parks and recreational facilities in Greenville County. The population is growing and the need is greater. Liz Walker tells us a consultant hired to come up with recommendations is out with a preliminary report.
A lot of children live in this Greenville neighborhood, and they'd like a playground or recreational facility.
These rocking animals here and monkey bars and a basketball court down the street are the only recreational type things the kids in this neighborhood say they have. If they want to do such things as swim, they say they have to go a distance.
This neighborhood is also infested with drugs. Many feel if the children had someplace to go to occupy their minds, it would help keep them away from drugs.
We tried to raise money to put a gym here years ago, but it ended up down at Lakeside. But Lakeside doesn't benefit these children.
This neighborhood isn't alone, and a panel of municipal leaders is studying the problem. A consultant hired to make recommendations is suggesting, for example, in Greenville, that 12 more parks be added at a cost of $9 million, and 50 or so park amenities such as basketball courts, bike trails, and swimming pools are suggested at a cost of $7.5 million. The consultant is also recommending that schools be utilized more.
What's called basically a school park, which is a park that the community can use in out of school hours and share that facility.
All these recommendations and costs are preliminary, but youngsters in this neighborhood are in luck. It's one that's targeted for a park or rec facility. In Greenville, Liz Walker, News Center 4.
Liz says a final report on all of Greenville County is expected in 2.5 months. Now we're going to take a break, and when we come back, Charlie Gertz has some more frightening pictures of Hurricane Hugo.
Hurry to Petty Brown Nissan, Anderson's #1 volume dealer for the year-end clearance sale going on now through Saturday. Choose from a huge selection of over 200 new Nissans in stock. Get a new Sentra, the car with quality, value, and style, all in one handsome package. Or if trucks are your way to go, come in and test drive a Nissan hardbody and feel the difference. But you'll have to hurry for the biggest discounts ever at Petty Brown Nissan, Clemson Boulevard in Anderson.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fletcher, your 1989 Miss North Carolina, and I'm looking forward to representing you this year. But even more important is the opportunity for me to remind all North Carolinians about the importance of education, especially being able to read. If you have trouble reading, contact your local literacy council or your neighborhood community college. Literacy classes are provided free. Together, we can make a difference in North Carolina's future and discover the real beauty of having an education.
You chose to drink and drive. This is the next 60 minutes of your life. South Carolina's roads can be highways or dieways. The choice is yours.
Recently, some people have stopped donating blood because they're afraid of what they'll get when they give. Well, let's clear this up once and for all, okay? You'll get free juice and a cookie, and you'll get a really good feeling inside. What you won't get, what you can't get by giving blood is AIDS. You just can't. So give blood and get a cookie. And if you ask nicely, hey, maybe they'll give you two.
Charlie Gertz's weather has the seal of approval of the American Meteorological Society.
Hurricane Hugo's maximum winds around the center have now increased to 110 miles per hour, still on a northwesterly course at about 17 miles per hour toward the United States mainland. We'll have a whole lot more on Hugo, of course, a little bit later, but let's make a quick check of the local conditions. Under cloudy skies, it is 69 degrees in Greenville. The high this afternoon, a conservative 77 degrees. The morning low is 59. The humidity is high tonight. We have a heavy overcast, that current reading at 95%. There's a little spotty drizzle here and there. Barometer at 30.09 inches of mercury and rising, with winds continuing from the northeast at 7 miles per hour. Spartanburg, generally the same conditions prevail across the entire upstate. Cloudy skies, it's mild at 11 o'clock at 68. The afternoon high was 76, and the morning low was 59. Asheville reports a little light precipitation in the way of light rain and drizzle. Fog is already formed up there. The 11 o'clock temperature 67, the afternoon high 74. Morning low this morning was 54. We shouldn't have that cool air in the area tomorrow morning because of the cloud cover and light precipitation. Going now to the National Weather Map, where we set this rapidly. In the 90s in southern Texas, the showers and thunderstorms on the Texas-Louisiana coast. Very good storm system getting oriented out here in the Rockies. We'll watch this one. Has quite a bit of rain associated. Should be moving through our area along about Sunday, but a whole lot of other things have to happen before Sunday gets here along the Atlantic coast. In the 80s, with a lot of rain down through Florida, up and down the Atlantic seaboard. Very heavy rains in New York City again this afternoon, out on the eastern shore of Maryland. High pressure continues to pump abnormally cool air down the Atlantic coast. Now, you can just see in the satellite photo the entrance, you might say, of the northwestern squall bands around advancing Hurricane Hugo. These are showers and thunderstorms. They are well off the Florida coast. Beautiful weather conditions down along the Florida coast at this hour. On the coastal sections of the Carolinas, some heavy showers in the southeastern portion of South Carolina. Heavy cloud cover with light rain on up over the North Carolina Outer Banks. Here's one picture of Hurricane Hugo. We won't spend much time on Tropical Storm Iris. It seems to be losing its intensity out here in Hugo's wake. We'll watch it for the next few days. But the main concern now is Hugo. Maximum winds have increased just well east of the Bahamas. All watches and warnings have been lowered for the Bahamas. But as we mentioned before, this storm is wound up very, very tightly. Now as it moves north and westward on a course that'll take it on a collision heading for the coastal section of the United States by late tomorrow night. Maximum winds around the center have increased a little bit as it's moved northwestward. Reconnaissance aircraft out there tonight report that it is a very, very large and a dangerous hurricane. And on that northwesterly course, you can see that it's going to be hard for it to miss the U.S. mainland. Estimates are that it hit anywhere between St. Augustine, Florida, and Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. And the storm seems to be growing in intensity as it starts to move over the Gulf Stream off the Florida coast. Now, the late position, first the hurricane watch, from St. Augustine northward through the coastal sections of Georgia, all of the coastal section of South and North Carolina, up to and including Cape Hatteras. 27.5 degrees north latitude, 74 degrees west longitude, on a course toward the north and west at 17 miles per hour. It's really picked up in its speed of advance in the last 24 hours. Max winds 110. This is the area that is under a hurricane watch. Hurricane warnings may be necessary as early as tomorrow morning for parts of the Georgia and South Carolina coast. And my path continues to be more toward the west-northwest, making landfall somewhere on the upper South Carolina coast late tomorrow night. Any way you look at it, it's a large and dangerous hurricane containing a lot of tropical moisture and strong winds. Our local forecast, patchy rain through the remainder of tonight with rather dense widespread fog. Low temperature by dawn 60 to 63 with winds from the northeast at 7 to 10. Thursday, a showery, breezy, mild day. High temperature 72 to 75, winds northeast 10 to 15. They'll be gusty in the afternoon. In the mountains, rain and fog tonight. Low temperature 56 to 59, winds northeast at 10 to 12. Tomorrow, showery and breezy. High temperature 70 to 73, with winds from the northeast 15 to 18 miles per hour. Flying conditions deteriorating through the period for local flights. On the coast, a hurricane watch in effect. Windy, rough seas, high surf, heavy rain squalls. High temperature will be hard to put to make 80. Could have a hurricane warning on coastal Carolinas by tomorrow morning. Locally, we're looking for rain tomorrow with a high of 77. Rain continuing Friday with a high of 77. Partly sunny on Saturday with a high of 80. And scattered thunderstorms Sunday with a high of 82. Our Charlie said it would umbrella winds tonight. And Mr. Gerald Long from Piedmont, South Carolina.
All right, Charlie. Hang on. Looks like it's going to be a couple of bumpy days coming up. And coming up in sports, Paul Johnson will be in with the latest on the baseball pennant races. Furman has its soccer showdown of Clemson. Highlights next on News Center for Sports.
Across the nation and in South Carolina, too many people continue to drink and drive. They're putting themselves, their families, and everyone else at risk. If you drink, please think about the consequences of getting behind the wheel. I'm Pete Hollings. Fritz and I urge you to join us in keeping South Carolina's roads safe.
This public service announcement brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Come on to the bed, only on NBC. Feel the excitement, sharing the good time. Only something you can believe in. Hey, promise somewhere you can get it all. Only on NBC, NBC. Mouth above the red. Only on NBC, NBC. Come on to the bed. Come on to the bed. Only on NBC.
You believe that a woman ended up in bed next to him nude and he didn't know how she got there?
Never argue with a woman. You'll never win.
If they've got two legs and walking, they will cheat.
You got it.
I've been together almost 19 years now.
How? I'll never know.
And men don't get as jealous as women. Oh, am I going to get killed for that one?
You heard it, America.
Turn to Oprah, 4 p.m. weekdays on Your Friend 4.
Most courtroom dramas show you a trial. Only trial by jury shows you the evidence. Most let you hear the testimony. Only trial by jury shows you both sides of the story. With cases argued by distinguished Hollywood talent. Only trial by jury features TV's courtroom legend, Raymond Burr. Trial by jury with Raymond Burr. Examine the evidence for yourself.
Trial by jury, 9 a.m. weekdays on Your Friend 4.
Paul Johnson on the sports desk tonight for Stan Lennox. Paul, I guess that was quite a soccer match between Clemson and Furman today, huh?
I think Clemson came down expecting maybe a bigger win. Furman, right to the tooth and nail in this one. The Furman soccer program, of course, has grown by leaps and bounds in the last few years, and a win today over the Clemson Tigers would give the Paladins that much more recognition. Coach John Tart had to be thinking that on the sidelines as the Paladins played really great in the first half. Hotly contested game. Clemson had some scoring chances like this corner kick, just would not go in because Furman was steady on defense. Still, it will be the Tigers to score first. David Burtek and John Payne working the ball to Pierce Formay, who will turn and just fire point-blank range. 1-0 Tigers. They would add another goal, and Clemson escapes Greenville tonight with a hard-fought 2-0 win. Other college soccer for you now. USCS, a 3-0 winner over Baptist, and Erskine, a 2-0 winner over Lander. Well, this week has been torture for Cub fans everywhere. Chicago led the Eastern Division by 4 games at the start of the day, but they could not win at home this afternoon. Stud Zimmer can't be too happy with this. Von Hayes, with 2 men on, gets a fastball, and he just creams it to right field. It's long gone, and the Phils have a 3-0 lead. Zimmer would go, oh, no, it's going to be one of those days because look at this. Sure enough, Mark Grace up with a chance to tie the game, but instead he hits into the double play, and Philadelphia wins 9-8. Meanwhile, in St. Louis, the Mets in town, both these clubs really think they've got a shot, especially the Cardinals with Johnny Morris going the other way. 2 runs will score. Cards lead 3-0. Then Milt Thompson will jump up, and when Thompson comes up, 2 more runners are on, and the guy gets a base hit, and it's 5-0 Cardinals. The Mets have come back to make a game of it. In fact, it's 5-3 now in the 7th. Other scores for you now. Pittsburgh just creams Montreal 9-1. San Diego over Cincinnati 3-1. Atlanta and Houston are still playing, and the Dodgers have already jumped up on the Giants. In the American League, Boston, a big win over Toronto. Roger Clemens, number 16. Oakland, a winner over Cleveland, 8-6. Baltimore beat Detroit. This is the final now, 9-2. And Jim Abbott wins number 12 as California beats Minnesota 9-1. The Wofford Terriers will return home this Saturday after being on the road for 2 weeks. They'll also be trying to even up their record at 2-2 after winning for the first time last Saturday.